Yeah, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for joining
Thank
me.
you for having me.
My pleasure. First of all, I'm going to give a shout out to a book that I was just sharing in my classroom this past week because it's just the coolest thing to me, and that is Star Trek Halloween. Halloween, not holodeck, but
Okay.
Halloween. Just so much fun. Love. I think it's Christopher Sequeira. Is that right? Um,
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Okay, all right. I think he's agreed to come on, so I'll find out then. And also Joe Eisma, just a great creative
Mhm.
team and just so much fun happening in the Star Trek universe in that book. So just sending a shout out to that first. But I believe my first official question is something about comics and what they allow you to do in terms of the stories that you want to tell and want to share with the world.
Um, I don't know. With comics, it's just a medium that I've loved since I was a kid,
Hmm. Hmm.
and if I had to choose one medium, even though I love television and movies and prose and everything else, I don't know. Just something about comics has always drawn me in. So I mean, if I had to choose one medium, the comics. I don't necessarily know if it allows me to um, do any storytelling that you couldn't absolutely not do anywhere else. It's
Hmm.
just it's just I enjoy that medium. It's in creating as well as reading. So
Yeah. Same. I read widely, but it's so often comics. It's sort of like the motif. They just keep coming back. Any issues, creators, or characters that were kind of first grabs for you that caught your attention immediately as a younger reader?
um well, I mean, my dad was a DC Comics fan, and
Hmm.
so he had like Superman through the 70s or whatever, collection. And I would always read that. So I think I was drawn to Superman as a character. And then when I just started getting comics and reading them myself, probably around 8 years old, and so that would have been like a John Byrne Superman run.
Hmm.
I, I remember having fond memories of reading a lot of those. And uh, like as I got older, I started moving over, started just reading other things, like to Marvel and then to other publishers and more indie publishers as I got older, and now I like everything.
Yeah, same. I read widely, and I'm going to actually skip questions here just a little bit around because that idea of wide reading just also gets to your creating. I mean, from Star Trek to Planet of the Apes meets Green Lantern, which is actually just a fun book to me.
Well, no, actually, the the Planet of the Apes book I did was actually a Star Trek Planet of the Apes
Oh, I'm
crossover.
sorry, Star Trek Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
I had my
yeah,
that's also one of my favorites. I
yeah.
love the
I did do a Star Trek, like the Kelvin verse Star Trek with
mhm.
crossover with Green Lantern. I did a cover for that. So
That's
um,
what I'm sorry. That's
yeah,
what I was
so
thinking. Yeah. And I also love those. Those are just so much fun to discover.
mhm,
Yeah, those linking together of worlds with Planet of the Apes, Star Trek, and then the Green Lantern.
yeah.
And then of course Doctor Who. Any favorite experiences of yours in your work? Positive collaborations, that sort of thing.
Um, well, I really enjoyed because when I was working on Doctor Who regularly, that was like 10 years ago. Um, because I was doing when IDW had the license and they lost the license just after the 50th anniversary, and
Hmm.
we're coming up to the 60th anniversary now. But Doctor Who has always been one of my favorite television show franchises since I was very young, and so getting to work on that was um, really fun. Plus, since I was doing so much Doctor Who stuff, they were letting me do things besides just coloring, so I got to do uh, some covers. Well, which was basically I was recreating the Dave Gibbons
Hmm.
Marvel
Hmm.
covers, um, which I loved as a kid. So I really wanted to have those in there. So I was um, doing my best to try to recreate them. And then I also um, was asked to do out of the blue a wraparound cover, which was to create a paper craft TARDIS. I don't know if you saw that that cover, but like my
Hmm.
editor
Hmm.
just emailed me and just was like, "Hey, make a papercraft TARDIS that would be a wraparound cover for a
Yes.
variant cover." And actually, I still have because this is my prototype, which was made out of Bristol board, and then this is the actual one that was printed that's been put together.
Love it. Love it.
So yeah, and that was fun because that was all my um, wheelhouses. It was just kind of like a weird thing. He sent that to me. I was like, why would you ask me to do that? And then I was like, I could probably do that. so, then I did that. And then I also got to write an issue when I was working on Doctor Who as well. So yeah, that was kind of a fun time because I got to do, you know, take on or put on more hats than I normally do. Because normally I just work as a colorist, but I got to
Mhm.
do other things as well. So.
Very cool. Very cool to play those multiple roles and wear those
Hmm.
multiple hats. I was going to ask you about the role of the colorist because I feel like sometimes that's something that gets either overlooked or sort of like, well, they're on the list too, but what do they do? So I'm just curious what you would share with listeners about that particular part of what you do.
Um, well, yeah, the role of the colorist is to emphasize the storytelling that's already there,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
uh, you can help push the mood. Like if it's supposed to be something creepy, you might do something like more monochromatic or something maybe, or more garish colors sometimes if it's like depending on what you're looking for, or if it's supposed to be like more fun action, you might want to use uh, local colors but bright colors maybe, and so basically your color decisions goes into the mood. um
Hmm. Hmm.
but a lot of the things that I'm thinking of is to help push the storytelling. It's really just to um, also push the clarity, make sure that the viewer's eye is going to where you want in each panel to
Hmm.
tell the story. And I mean, sometimes sometimes the line art does this on its own, so you don't have to do too much heavy lifting. But sometimes you might get something where there's a lot going on and you don't know where the eye is supposed to land.
Hmm.
So then basically kind of like going from like what the script is saying and what's in the artwork. Then it's like, okay, I can try to put an emphasis on this section of the panel here, so that just to make it clear, what's more clear what's happening.
Hmm.
Because sometimes like you might get a see a comic where it's like everything is just mud, and then you can't even tell what's going on. So yeah, you just basically is you know my concentration a lot of times is just make sure everything's clear.
Hmm. Hmm.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So by means of a final question, and then we can hit anything that we've missed. Curious about places where listeners and readers can go to learn more about your work, and any nods to creative work that you'd like to do or that you will be doing. And I'll mention again, Star Trek Halloween. It's an ongoing series right now, and really enjoying that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, you can find me on my website, which is charliekirchoff.com. And that's you can find all like my other links there too, as well as portfolio and other information. Um, but pretty much, if I'm on a social network, it's at Charlie Kirchoff, and I'm pretty much on all the big ones. Though I've um, stopped using the formerly known as Twitter
Hmm. Hmm.
one. I've kind of just parked. I'm still on there. I just parked it. I'm not really actively using it anymore. Um, but yeah, but I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I do have a TikTok account, but I haven't really used it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that's one that's I don't know. It's beyond me. I'm not that great I need to get better at video because everyone else is doing video now, but
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
that great at that. But yeah, so that's where you can find me. And then for the second part of um, like the question, yeah, there's the Halloween one, which is coming out every week in October.
Hmm.
Um, which actually I just finished that up like about a month ago. So
Very
it's
fresh. Yeah.
yeah, and then also in Star Trek, been working on uh, the Picard's Academy, which
Love
is
it.
for young audiences. And the first issue is out already. You might still be able to find that at your local comic shop, and I believe the second issue comes out November 8th. And then also like the first week of November, I return to Doctor Who again
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
a special that Dan Slott wrote, and so I did a lot of the colors on that. And actually, I did that a year ago, and but it's coming out next month.
Gotcha, gotcha. Some
So
lead
yeah,
time.
so hmm yeah, and yeah, and there are a few of like indie books that I'm working on right now that I don't think I can really talk about yet,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I don't know when they'll actually be hitting stores. Um, and yeah, and beyond that, I don't really have anything else lined up. So, but hopefully I'll be. Yeah, I mean, I try to line it like when stuff starts coming to a close. I try to start lining up new stuff, and
Hmm. Hmm.
it's it's always the difficult part of freelancing.
Right, right. Well, you've had a very prolific career, so I'm looking forward to the things that are coming next, and
Hmm.
no doubt that the projects will continue to be there, and looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing more coloring, writing, and
Hmm.
creating from you.
Yeah, and I'm hoping since now I'm in my 40s, I've been doing this for 20 years, and so now I'm in my 40s. I'm hoping to in the next few years maybe start leading some projects, doing something that I can actually like own a piece of as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Um, just start instead of doing it as like a freelance get paid once sort of a thing, maybe something that I can look at as more of an investment for the future.
hmm. Hmm.
So I would like to start getting to that bit. So that's something new that I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing how all of the creating comes together. Did we miss anything that you want to make sure to share before we close out?
I don't think so.
All right, all right. Well, thank you, Charlie. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me, and I will always be glad to share about your work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking me on.